may occasionally point to you and like say, "You're next." But don't count on it. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for the USD 457 Board of Education Forum, hosted by the Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce and the Chamber Government Affairs Committee. This forum is being broadcast live on City Channel 8 and on the Chamber's Facebook page. My name is Dr. Bill Clifford, and I currently serve as the chair of the Chamber Government Affairs Committee, and I will be the moderator for tonight's event. Joining me to keep track of time is Micah Bunch, president of the Chamber of Commerce. Tonight, we welcome the following candidates who seek election to the USD 457 Board of Education: Alex Wallace, Isidro Marino, Jackie Jiggett, John Weesey, Cammie McDonald, and Laura Boers. Candidates, thank you for joining us this evening. The process for tonight's 90-minute forum will begin with each candidate providing a 2-minute opening statement, followed by the question and answer session, and we will conclude with a 2-minute closing statement. You don't have to use all your time. The order of candidate introductions was drawn at random, and that order will be reversed for the closing statements. Each candidate will be allowed 90 seconds to respond to each question. The order of candidate responses will rotate for each new question. Micah will notify you when you have a 30-second remaining time, and again when your 90 seconds are up. This is a closed question forum. We'll have no rebuttal questions, and no audience participation will be allowed. I would appreciate if the audience would refrain from clapping or in any way disturbing the forum. Without further delay, let's begin. Are you ready?
Yes.
We'll begin with the 1-minute opening statement from 2-minute opening statement from Mr. John Weesey.
Well, thank you, Dr. Clifford, and thank you, Micah. Thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak tonight. I would like to just give a little bit of background about myself. My name is John Weesey. I grew up in north central Kansas, a small farming community, and grew up with an agriculture and livestock background. After high school, I went to Hutchinson Community College, where I studied ag, and then later transferred to Kansas State University and graduated there in 2002 with an ag business degree. Moved to Garden City in 2002, went to work for a feed yard here south of town, and enjoyed the experience of doing that. Met a lot of great people and worked with a lot of people. In 2007, I moved to the company I currently work for today, which is a company that services the feed yard industry with products, technology, and service. And as our family was growing, I transitioned into that job to be able to spend more time and invest in my wife and my children. I served on the Beef Empire Days board as a member, vice president, and president. I enjoyed that experience. I enjoyed working. I love Garden City. It's been a wonderful community for our family. We've been blessed to live here, and our kids have grown up here, and they all three attend Garden City High School. I have a junior, I have a freshman, and I have a 7th grader. And they all, they love school, and they love participating in all the extracurricular activities that Garden City High School provides. So I look forward to this forum, look forward to answering questions about myself and the different things how I think about things.
Thank you, Mr. Weesey. We'll now hear from Alex Wallace.
We're not live on Facebook, only on YouTube. Do you want to pause so I can get that fixed, or what do you guys want to do?
I think we'll pause.
Okay, let me, 5 seconds to Jamie.
Pause for station identification.
Technical problems. Thanks for staying within time.
You're welcome.
I had a ride hurt a little bit last night, but
I got a good view of the screen.
yeah, that helps. No one ever brings jokes to these forums.
I got a couple.
No.
I am so sorry, everybody, it was just a few seconds.
It's interesting, when you run for Congress, you get coached a lot, and some of it don't really agree with, but it's the path. And they usually say, the question is just there to get you started, don't answer the question, interestingly. But I appreciated last night that everyone actually addressed the question at hand. But, you see on TV when people are interviewed, as soon as they can, or in the debates, presidential, otherwise, as soon as they can go off on their own topic or tangent, they do.
That's when I fire a client. When they go off on their
They
own.
go off. Don't do that before the judge.
I feel like we need like the Jeopardy theme music going.
I have the weather radar if you're interested.
How's it
It's
looking?
7:40. Our first blast. This simulates a school board meeting, right?
No.
No. A lot of listening.
A lot of
You do
listening.
A lot of listening.
A lot of listening.
Kind of simulates it for next week though, because you'll be here for school board.
That's right. Kind of cool.
And I and everyone will be very appreciative of the microphones.
Well, once we get back into the boardroom at the SE building, we'll have that brand new system
That'll be nice.
in place and TV, so hopefully
I don't know
it'll,
all the plans, but it looks like it'll be, sounds like
it's gonna be
nice.
really nice, yeah.
Just even to see what you can see.
Yeah. I'm excited about the TV screens too. It'd be nice. They're like they're taunting us.
Yeah,
It's
for the
like-
back there, you just have the,
Yeah.
hold down,
Mhm.
only does so much. Especially when the lights are on.
Yeah, I don't know how he turns that iPad to see that screen and that huge
Lots
glare
of
that's
people
on it.
can hear it every time news on the ball. He needs to get a new one there. That thing is not really holding well.
Well, and then we can hear your typing too. It's hilarious.
Well, the more I type, the less I have to transcribe. Listen to it and just, type it, you said.
We figured the less typing is, you're not as interested.
Very much. Or it's just like, nope, not keeping up with stuff right now. Later.
I'm just joking.
So Facebook, we're not able to, but we've posted a link to the YouTube page and it's streaming live on there. So
Bless you.
Apologize.
Bless you.
Facebook does its own things.
Microphone's close again. Okay, we're back live. Everyone out in TV land and hopefully others have joined us on the YouTube channel. We'll now hear an opening statement from Mr. Alex Wallace.
Good evening. Bless you. I'd also like to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the Government Affairs Committee for hosting tonight's forum and providing myself and the other candidates the opportunity to share information to the community as they prepare to cast their vote on November 2nd. I am Alex Wallace. I am an owner-operator of Wallace Electric LLC in town. I'm luckily married to Natalie Wallace for 22 wonderful years as of last week. We have 3 kids that have been a part of the Garden City High School, or Garden City school system, graduated, and because of the teachers, the numerous teachers, staff, mentors, counselors, they have moved on to their secondary education. My oldest daughter, Britt, she's attended WSU. She graduated with a liberal arts and health degree, and now she has 3 wonderful kids and living in Florida. My oldest son, Cameron, he is getting ready to graduate next May from the National Electrical Trade Academy, and he thinks that he will get to come back home and take over and say, buy me out. There's a difference. My youngest son is the 2nd year at K-State, getting his construction science degree. I attribute their post-secondary success to all the teachers, all the people that have come in contact with them since kindergarten. Sometimes it's been a struggle, sometimes it's been great, but nonetheless, I couldn't thank them enough, me and my wife, for all their continued support. And even to this day, some of the teachers reach out to them. Thank you. I am running for school board due to the love, passion, and experience I have for this district and our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace, and we'll hear from Mr. Isidro Marino.
Hello, everybody, and thank you to the Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce and Dr. Bill Clifford for hosting this. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Isidro Marino, and I was born and raised the majority of my life in Los Angeles County, California, but I have recently moved to the Southwest Kansas area within the past 5 years, and I've grown to love Garden City, its residents, and its attractions and businesses that so many people from all over the world and the country come here to live and make Garden City their home. And I'm so proud to be a Garden City resident and be with everyone here right now. I'd also would like to say that I do a lot of community organizing in the state of Kansas. I also do a lot of community organizing on the national level. I work as a disability services coordinator under a health agency, and I have done a lot of community organizing work in the disability services sector. And for the past 5 years since I've been in Kansas, I've worked on numerous political campaigns organized around nonprofit organizations. I've also worked on several projects such as immigration services, labor and civil rights, as well as increasing civic engagement and voter turnout within Garden City, Kansas, and the Southwest Kansas area. Recently, I've been addressing food insecurity in Kansas and working directly under Kansas Governor Laura Kelly to reform the juvenile justice system. I would love to be the school board member for USD 457 because I can relate to the majority of the school district students who are majority Hispanic and economically disadvantaged. And with my civic and community engagement and expertise on social issues, I will be extremely effective as a school board member by focusing on transparency, equity, and inclusion. And with that said, I hope to be completing my bachelor's degree at Fort Hays State University by next December. And I want to bring lots of jobs back into Garden City, as we're already seeing several happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from Jackie Jiggett.
Good evening. My name is Jackie Jiggett, and I've been a resident of Garden City for over 26 years now. I grew up in Hays, Kansas, and I graduated from Hays High School. I attended and graduated from Dodge City Community College in May of 1995 and then moved to Garden City. I was employed by the Garden City Police Department from May of 95 until August of 2014. I held the position of Executive Secretary to the Chief of Police and the last 12 years of my employment as the budget analyst. I resigned from the position at the police department only to go on to work with my family at our family farm and spend more time with my kids and help in their activities. Been married to my husband Mark for almost 22 years. We have 2 children who both attended schools in Garden City. Our son Wyatt graduated from Garden City High School in May of 2021 and was honored to receive his diploma from Mr. Alex Wallace. Wyatt was an active member of Finney County 4-H, Garden City FFA, and was a member of the Garden City Trap Shooting Club. He then found his inspiration from a teacher and a love of welding and went on, and he is now attending Garden City Community College welding program and is a member of the meats judging team. Our daughter Lauren is a sophomore at Garden City High School, and she is a member of FFA and 4-H. Both of my kids have participated in many 4-H events, many cattle and livestock events, but also many other static project areas and many volunteer times. I'm a firm believer in giving back to my community. Volunteering is one of my favorite hobbies. I'm an active volunteer for Finney County 4-H as the beef superintendent, a club parent advisor, and currently working with my husband and son to build up the 4-H shooting sports project in Finney County. We are also a summer host family for the Garden City Wind baseball team. And we volunteer on game days and do anything that we can to make a game successful. I have previously served on the Finney County Extension Board and the Garden City Community College Endowment Board, my last 2 years serving as president. I look forward to being a part of the school board and moving forward with some great achievements. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jiggett. We'll now hear from Laura Boers.
Thank you. I also want to echo the thanks to the City of Garden City and the Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce, and more specifically the Government Affairs Committee for their hard work and dedication in putting on these candidate forums. I know how difficult they can be to put on, so thank you very much. As was stated, my name is Laura Boers, and I have had the honor and privilege of serving on the Board of Education for the last 10 years. During those 10 years, the board has accomplished and the district has accomplished a great many things. Some of the things that I am particularly proud of is that we've added numerous programs for our students, not just extracurricular and athletic things, which you may see often and probably take notice of the most, but also a lot of academic and social emotional programs as well that I believe has been a tremendous asset to our students. We have also seen in the last 6 years a 24% pay raise or pay increase to our teachers and staff. All the while, we have been keeping the mill levy flat for the majority of those years. What does that really mean, though, is that also it's helping our community grow. Teachers and staff have more disposable income because their taxes are flat, and also because they have had the pay raise. That helps our community. They have more disposable income for the local businesses. I'm excited about all of the things that we have done and all of the things that we are looking forward to as well. I'm also a member of the Board of Directors for the Kansas Association of School Boards, and am currently in the running for one of the leadership positions, which I think would also be a huge benefit to the city and to our district if I were to be able to continue on down that path. Again, thank you all for coming, and I'm looking forward to answering all of your questions.
Thank you. Our final opening statement will be by Cammie McDonald.
I also want to thank you so much for having us here tonight. I appreciate how much the Chamber does for our community. I'm Cammie McDonald. I worked in public accounting for 14 years, and then I decided to start my own business. I do accounting and financial consulting, as well as estate planning for local ag, family-owned businesses. My husband, Damon, is the Kansas manager of underwriting for American Ag Credit. We have lived in Garden City for 17 years, and we love our community. We have 3 children in 3 different schools in the district. Getting everyone where they need to be is a real trick sometimes, but thanks to great carpool moms, we get it done. Our oldest is a freshman, and we really love being Buffaloes and are looking forward to many more years of that. Our second daughter is in 7th grade, and then our son is in 3rd grade. Over the last couple years, I have realized the importance of local elected positions and want to give back to my community. If I am elected, I am looking forward to working with administration and teachers to make our district one of the best. All of our children deserve the best opportunities to be able to get the skills they need to be successful in whatever they dream to do in life. Thank you.
Thank candidates for your opening statements. At this time, we'll begin the question and answer portion of tonight's forum. As previously stated, each candidate will be allowed 90 seconds to respond to each question. We drew names at random, and we'll keep Cammie McDonald talking.
Okay.
You're first. First question, why do you want to be a member of the USD 457 Board of Education, and why should voters elect you?
I think I've been in accounting for the past 17 years, and I bring financial experience when reviewing budget and monetary decisions. In addition, when I was in public accounting, I managed people and processes. And I think I can bring to the table looking in areas where we struggle, such as staffing, to determine what is working and what is not working, and then work with teachers and administration to find solutions to the issues, making processes more efficient and less cumbersome. I also want to look into schools that are successful in areas and replicate what they are doing. And last, as an elected official, I have a responsibility to a taxpayer. I pledge to do my own research, listen to parents and constituents, and truly understand what I am voting on.
Thank you, Cammie. Now hear from Cedro Marino.
Yes. I'd say that to be a school board member would be a great position for me because I believe that, as mentioned, we should address the shortage of teachers and staffing in schools, and that classroom sizes should be proportionate to the teachers that we should have, and that we should attract more teachers from across the country to come and teach in Garden City. Also, I want to make more opportunities for college-ready students at the high school to go and study in the state of Kansas, abroad, nationally, and then return with their work and knowledge they have attained to stay in Garden City, grow businesses, and attract more residents to the Garden City area to expand revenue in the area. So thank you.
And candidates, if you do want the question repeated, feel free to ask. We'll now hear from Laura Boris.
Thank you. My why began about 10 years ago because that's when I first ran. And I don't know, my husband now calls me an Apache helicopter mom because I'm now on the school board. But it was because of my two boys, Carl and Henry. Carl was entering kindergarten at the time. Henry was just a year behind him. They are now both a sophomore and junior at Garden City High School, having gone completely through their education career in Garden City Public Schools. I have a passion for public education, and that's, I guess, initially the why for 10 years ago why I ran. As for why I'm running now, I want to keep the forward progress that we have started going forward. We have some good numbers, I believe, coming out next week during our board meeting with regard to how well our students have been progressing, even despite the COVID pandemic, and getting them caught up or exceeding excelling where they were. So I'm very excited about that initial data. I'm also vested in the community. I am a commercial property owner and not just a residential property owner. So even when they graduate, because the 4 years will extend beyond their time, I still have a vested interest in this community. I believe in public service. When I left the county attorney's office 11 years ago, I felt like something was missing, and that's why I ran for the school board and hope to continue with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. And we'll now hear from Mr. John Weesey.
Thank you. I'm running for school board to just bring some new perspective and new leadership to the board. I'm excited about the opportunity to work with administration, the teachers, the staff to enhance the education experience of USD 457. I've gotten to know many of our wonderful educators over the years, and I value and appreciate what they do for our students so much. I'm also running for the students. I want to be part of growing their minds and increasing their knowledge. We live in an area that has a lot of jobs, a lot of technical jobs, a lot of wonderful jobs, and I want Garden City students to be qualified to fill those positions. I'm running for the parents as well. Parents' rights are a big thing. They have come under fire, and I think parents have the rights to know what their kids are learning and what curriculum they're studying. I also believe that parents have the right to make health decisions for their children. I'm looking forward to giving back to our community. My wife and I have lived in Garden City for nearly 20 years. It's been a wonderful place to call home. We've raised our kids here. We enjoy the community. I'm looking forward to giving back to the city of Garden.
Thank you, John. Alex Wallace, same question.
You want to repeat the question, please?
I sure will. Why do you want to be a member or remain a member of the USD 457 Board of Education, and why should voters elect you?
So I moved to Garden City back in 1999 and started my business in 2004. And after starting my business, we do a lot of commercial work and some residential industrial. But I've got to meet a ton of great people and build a lot of relationships in this town. After that, I saw a need to sit on the Chamber of Commerce, and I got to sit on Mr. Dixon over there. And those 2 years I sat on Dixon, I saw a need for a fresh idea, a different perspective on the school board. My sons were 7 and 8 years old and having some difficulty, and I thought I can go in there and make a difference. Little did I know that once you get in there, there's a whole different world than what you think as an independent. You're a part of a team. You're a part of a community that wants the best for your children. Our district has to educate every child that steps through our doors. I want to be a part of that success. I served as the vice president last year to replace Jean Clifford when she stepped aside to run and be elected to state school board. And just this last July, I was able to be elected president. And I want to continue our success to educate our kids.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Jackie Jiggett.
I feel I could be a positive contribution to the school board to help ensure transparency, fiscal responsibility, and accountability of the school district. I'm very firm in my beliefs and share the same values as many parents do. The balance of priorities is important, giving equal value to students, parents, and staff. Being involved in a board is as important as the school board. You have to have the time to invest yourself into the position. I have the flexibility to ensure that I do have the time to fulfill this role with positive values and most of all, common sense.
Thank you, Ms. Jiggett. We'll now go on to question 2. What is your vision for K-12 education in our community? And we'll begin with Isidro Marino.
My vision for K through 12 schools are that they become one of the best systems here in Garden City, and that throughout the nation, we become a model and an example that what we can do here is great, and that other places across the country can also follow our lead. I would also like to enhance programs to keep students fit, as many do not perform health exercises at home. I would also like to keep students away from doing any bad behavior outside of school or inside of school by providing programs and preventative programs that will enhance the experience of K through 12 students and prevent any bad decisions later on in life so that we have a healthy community. Thank you.
Thank you, Isidro. Now we'll hear from Laura Boris.
Thank you. I think thus far we have been on a really good track for our K-12 education. We have a wide variety of programs that we've been able to offer, and with the additional funding that we have received from our high-density population, and then also with the COVID money or ESSERS money, some of the programs that we've been able to add, I believe, will highlight some of the things that our students can do. I do believe in the college and career-ready standards because I believe that kids need to be able to leave Garden City High School either ready to go to college or ready for a trade. And even some of those things that they are able to do can help them and help their parents save thousands of dollars with college by helping them determine, is something right for me or not? Some people may want to become a nurse or a doctor, but then start working through the CNA program and discover, well, blood and vomit may not be my thing. So we've saved those kids a lot of time and money. So I believe that continuing that and continuing the individual learning plans that Dr. Watson has discussed as well, so that we can make sure that we're teaching the student what they need to know to accomplish what they want. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question for Mr. John Weesey.
Thank you. My vision for the K-12 education is that each year as the student develops and as it goes to a different grade level, that they would be prepared for that grade level. I think that our school district does a wonderful job of preparing them, and from class to class, I believe that they do a good job of transitioning that. I do feel like in our district right now, we are performing below standards in math and reading. We are declining at a little bit faster pace than the state. So my vision is that we would stop that decline and plateau it, and that we would start to actually increase and start to beat the standards testing scores of the rest of the state that we're measured against. But I believe that our K-12 education should build year to year, and then when our students graduate, they should be ready for post-secondary, and they should be able to plug into our communities and provide quality skills and knowledge for our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weese. Alex Wallace, you're next.
Oh, thank you. My vision to provide K through 12 education is to keep doing what we're doing. We're supporting our teachers, we're supporting our staff, we're supporting our great administration that we have in place now for that student success. I also have a vision for the CTE program to be an electrician and a trade. I think there is other alternatives to post-secondary education to go that far. You can be a plumber, you can be a college graduate, you can be an electrician, you can be many things. I want to keep that vision going. I believe strongly again that every student that comes to our doors needs an education and needs to be educated by our people. And to accomplish this, we need to support our parents and our student engagement. I get to sit on the curriculum committee, and the collaboration that most of our teachers, our parents, and peers that sit on there are awe-inspiring with the collaboration that they have to get to the end result. And that end result is to provide and prepare that student for life.
And Jacqueline Jaggett, you're next.
I think the biggest thing of my vision is to keep true to our values, to keep true to our community and the wholesome community that we have, embrace the diversity, and continue with the programs that have grown our community and prepared our students. Technical programs are very important to me. We do have a large community that is agriculture, that is technical based through the agriculture, and growing those programs and those trades is very important to bring knowledge back to our community and to keep it in our community. Teachers is a big thing. Teachers, paras, and staff, and ensuring that they have the tools to make our students and our kids prepared for their future and prepared to be adults. That's the most important thing, is to keep to those values and that teaching.
Thank you. Finally, we'll hear from Cammie McDonald.
My vision for K through 12 education, I want to make sure that all children in the community are equipped with the skills that they need to be able to go do whatever they are looking to do in life. And I also agree that there's some technical schools and things that we need to make sure that we're all of that is exercised. And I think another thing that I envision getting solved is we have a major staffing issue that I think we have to get to the bottom of. So I envision that we review the staffing process from our recruiting clear to retention, compensation, and we make sure that we look at other schools that are successful in it, and we try to get through that, because at the end of the day, the staffing, they teach our children, and we've got to get that figured out. I've heard a lot of teachers talk about that with me when I've been out talking to everybody. Teacher retention, just make sure that we are empowering them, and administration as well to do. We have a lot of great people within our district, and we need to make sure that they're able to do the best. They're equipped, and we empower them. So those are the type of things that I envision for the school district.
Thank you, Cammie, and that's a nice segue to the next question. There's a shortage of qualified teachers here and across the state, if not the country. How would you, as a school board member, work to remedy the situation? And we'll begin with Mr. John Weese.
Thank you. I would first evaluate the processes that we have in place through data, through collaboration with our administration, our teachers, all parties involved, And I would listen to them and figure out why we have a teacher shortage. I would listen to them and try to understand what makes Garden City a place that teachers want to stay, and talk to the teachers that have been here for a long time and have a lot of tenure. And I would try to model that with them. I do believe that the process may need refined. I've talked to a lot of teachers in the district, and some of them say that our hiring practice, it's a hard process to go through. It takes several days, and it just isn't as efficient and as clean as it needs to be. So I would review all the processes, talk to all the people, talk to all the stakeholders, and then obviously you have to figure out what type of teachers that you want to recruit. You want to bring the teachers that share the same values as our community to our community, and then we have to go pursue them and figure out a way to bring them to our community and to our school district.
Thank you, John. Alex Wallace.
To address the teacher shortage, we do have a problem. Sitting on the school board for the last 2 or 3 times, our administration staff, Heath Hogan and his committee put together a great package to go out there and recruit those teachers. Due to the pandemic in 2020, that made our job to go out and find new teachers to fill the positions very, very hard to do. Social media became a factor, Zoom, Skype, all that stuff was brought to the table to get to those teachers. I heard a long time ago that teachers that come to Garden City and learn how to teach, they get a great education, they get great professional learning communities, they learn from great mentors that are already here, and then 5 or 6 years later, they leave. How do we keep those teachers here? We need to keep those teachers, not just because of a family, but what can we do? One of the things we can do is keep investing in our teachers and give them the tools to succeed, and to also provide a great community for those to set up roots and do that.
Thank you, Alex. Jackie Jiggett.
I think the process in general needs to be looked into and streamlined. The teacher shortage didn't just come with the COVID-19. It was there very much before then. I think we need to look at recruiting practices and try to set up children that are currently in school a career path that goes towards education. Not only is there a teacher shortage, there is a parish shortage also. Some of those shortages is due to childcare, affordable housing, and those things can be looked at in conjunction with the city and the county to address some of those issues, to make it affordable for somebody to put roots down in Garden City, to make Garden City their home.
Thank you. Cami McDonald, you're next.
The teacher shortage, yeah, like I said, does really concern me, and I think the way you solve it is you just ask a lot of questions, and I think it starts from the beginning to the end, like recruiting. You know, we need to ask, are we recruiting in the right areas? Are we growing our own to maximum? Like, can we grow teachers within? And are we making our hometown kids, when they apply, are they a priority? And are we streamlining them through the process? Are our offers really competitive with other schools? That type of, and then retention. Do our staff feel appreciated? Are we competitive on salaries? And then last, I think you got to look at your exit interviews. I think you need to see what the consistencies are across those, because maybe we can find what some of the major problems are and get to the bottom and get ideas from teachers and others on how we could solve those.
Thank you. Isidro Martino.
May you repeat the question
Marino.
again, please?
Yes, sir. Sorry. There's a shortage of qualified teachers here, and if not in the state and country, how would you as a school board member work to remedy the situation? Mr.
As
Marino.
a school board member, thank you. To remedy the situation, I would work with the current school board members for advising, also assess the situation with all faculty, teachers, and bringing also state and federal resources and people to come in and assess the situation. One important thing would also be to incentivize teachers to come to Garden City and settle here with family by working with government bodies, and also to really increase like a family setting in Garden City so that these folks can stay here, so that they have proper housing, and can also just live a life here in Garden City and give back to the school system. It would also be very important to invest in students who want to pursue a career in teaching, and make sure that they will have a position of teaching if they would like to come back to Garden City, and really just increase programs for teaching, such as there's already a few in Garden City Community College that work directly with statewide universities that will give statewide grants to students who come back and teach in Southwest Kansas. Thank you.
Last participant, Laura Boris.
Thank you. I have to kind of laugh at your comment about leaving after 5 to 6 years. I was on the 3-year plan, and 20 years later, I'm still here. So with regard to the shortage of qualified teachers, it is not just a Finney County, Garden City issue. It is a national issue. There are colleges which have completely shut down their teacher education program because they don't have anyone who's interested in going down that career path. We do have a career path at Garden City High School for those who want to become teachers. We also have the Grow Your Own program as well. And I believe, when I was here 4 years ago, the question was about us being trendsetters on things of that nature. We have taken quite a few steps also with the transition to teaching. We have several of those teachers as well to help get our classrooms filled. But to compare us to other districts, especially in the area, I think gives the wrong impression. Some districts in our area count a position filled when they have a long-term sub in that position. Those subs may or may not be certified or have passed their tests and that type of thing to have a contract. And thus, their numbers look a lot better than Finney County's numbers do. Garden City doesn't count that position filled until we have a certified, under contract teacher. So to compare districts, I think, is not appropriate with regard to this particular metric. But I believe we've done a good job thus far.
Thank you, Laura. I'm going to go on to the next question. There's considerable debate about requiring face masks as the preventative measure to reduce COVID-19 within schools. Is there a point at which you would favor a mask requirement? And if so, when is that? We'll begin with Alex Wallace.
Whew, that's a tough one. Well, currently, right now, we are recommending but not requiring face masks in schools, in all the school buildings, public property, the school district property. This year, me and Dr. Carlin decided as a board retreat to get community stakeholders' input on masks, for and against. We had 10 against and we had 7 for, and they both gave great information. We were there just to sit and listen to the community. We reacted. I mean, we supported that. When it gets to a point, we have a great COVID plan with the color system in the schools now that goes to quarantine, send home, all that particular. But when it gets to a point that we need to require a face mask is when is that magic answer? Do we rely on the Finney County? Do we rely on our stakeholder, the St. Catherine Hospital? Do we rely on the ICU beds being completely full and we have to ship our people off? That is a very tricky question. I'm married to a nurse. I mean, she wants to have masks now. So I get it from both sides. But I think when the numbers really get bad and we start seeing some really serious issues with people's health, I think we need to look at this.
Thank you, House. Now Jackie Jiggett.
Masks are a touchy subject, but it ultimately comes down to that it's the parent's choice. It is the parent's choice to ensure the safety of their children and their decision on whether to send their child to school with a mask or without. It's a personal choice. Some has to do with living conditions and health conditions, but it is the parent's choice. No matter what, under any condition, it is the parent's choice to decide what is right for their child.
Thank you. Cammie McDonald, next.
I also agree. I do not believe in mandates, and I think it is a parent's choice to decide what they're going to do when it comes to masking. I don't think that, I think, we live in America and we have freedoms, and I believe that's part of it.
Mr. Marino? You're next.
Due to mask mandates in schools, I believe we should follow the local Finney County Health Department's protocols and also CDC protocols. Overall, I would ensure that mask mandates are mandatory at schools, following the local protocols of the Finney County Health Department. As the situation changes, the policy and procedure should change as well.
Laura Boris, next.
Thank you. Talking about the board retreat that we had, where we had a number of parents and stakeholders come and speak, in addition to that, we also, I at least received a lot of different emails and communications, phone calls. So I think it actually ended up being a 50-50 draw. So no matter which way you go, you're going to make half the town mad and you're going to make half the town happy. I'm not in favor of a mandate. I hate masks just as much as anyone else. However, we have to look at what 200 people came together and suggested and recommended to our school board. They were the ones who put the initial COVID plan together. And we had parents, we had staff, we had teachers, we had paras, we had bus drivers. We had everyone to come and look at that plan and make a recommendation. I think having the select committee look at the data, because we have been very data driven, is important with regard to whether or not we need to mask again. I hope we don't have to. Our numbers have been staying steady, but we've been going with Finney County numbers, which I think is very important. If we listen to the Kansas Department of Education, we would have been remote almost all year last year because our positivity rate was so high. But we knew what was going on in our own community. We were able to make those decisions based off of the recommendations of those 200 individuals who came together to help us out.
Thank you, Laura. Mr. Weesey.
Thank you. Well, I think that, as we've gotten further and further down the road with COVID-19, we've obviously have more data. We obviously have more information. We have vaccines. So I'm 100% against a mandate. I feel like if people want the freedom or have freedom in their life, and if they choose to take the vaccination, that's their freedom. If they choose not to take a vaccination, that's their freedom. If they choose to wear a mask, that's a freedom of theirs, and if they choose not to. And I think that health decisions should be between the parents and their students, and I believe if they choose to consult with their doctor, that it should be between the parents, the student, and the doctor. I don't believe that any federal, state, or local government should ever put into place mandates when it comes to students' health.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. Weesey. Now go on to the next question. As a board member, how will you address constituent concerns brought to you individually while maintaining your role as a member of the governing board? And we'll begin with Cammie McDonald.
As constituents would come to me, I would listen to their concerns and acknowledge their concerns, and then share that with the rest of the board. I think we're a board as a unit, and we need to be sharing all information that we have from that. The feedback that we get should be shared with each other.
Thank you. And if anyone would like to extend their remarks, I'll give you your entire time. We'll move on to Isidro Marino.
If a constituent was to bring a concern to me, I would listen and also acknowledge the situation regarding their concern. But overall, I would bring that up to the board and work directly to address the situation and come together on a common solution.
Thank you, Mr. Marino. Laura Boris.
Thank you. There is a process in place in dealing with constituent concerns. The first thing that I always do is ask, well, who have you addressed this with? If it's a specific issue, school-related issue. Have you spoken with the teacher? That's the best way to get the problem solved immediately. Have you spoken with the principal? Have you spoken with the assistant or deputy superintendent, if it's, especially if it's a personnel issue? And then the superintendent. If those steps have not been taken, it's not, in my opinion, a board-level issue yet. Because I'm only one person. It takes 4 people to vote for anything to happen at the board level. And because we only meet a couple of times a month, it's not that I'm going to be able to fix or solve the problem on my own. However, I do always let Dr. Carlin know when there has been an issue that has been brought to my attention so that he can start working on it as well, because I do believe in collaboration with the administration so that we can deal with any situations that do arise. And I believe, for the most part, everything has been addressed when it has gone through the proper channels. If not, I hope that they do contact us. I do try to respond to my emails within a day and let everybody know what at least I can do. Thank you.
Mr. Weesey, same question.
Yeah, I would echo what Laura says. I think there's a process in place, and it needs to start, you know, at the bottom of that with the teacher or wherever that issue is, and work its way through the administration before it becomes a board issue. I do feel as a board member, though, that we are accountable to the people who vote and voted us into that position. So I do believe that we need to respond to our constituents. If we don't have the answer, we need to tell them that we don't know the answer and be honest with them, and that we will work to find the answer with the administration. So I do think that there's a lot of accountability as a board member to our constituents and the voters that put us in this position.
Thank you. Mr. Wallace?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with both Laura and John. There is a process. All the times that I've sat on the board, and I haven't had very many constituents come to me with individual concerns because they know my role as a board member is just one vote. I listen. I tell them the chain of command or the process to go through with their school, their administrator, their teacher, and work their way up. All the while, I keep an eye on it just to kind of just check in and see what the pulse is, make sure their problem, their answer, their question is getting some resolution. It's not up to us to let that constituent know that, hey, I can take care of you. That's not our job. Our job is to enforce, or to come up with and enforce board policy, advocate for children, a fiduciary response, and at the end, hand out a diploma. But you listen, you go through the process, and then you keep your, like I said, your finger on the pulse, and then hopefully come to an amicable resolution.
Thank you. Jackie Jiggett.
I agree with all the previous comments. There is a chain of command for it, and recommending that's followed, and encouraging that individual to meet with the teacher, meet with an administrator, and also to follow up with them to make sure that they did find resolution in their problem. And if they didn't, to help guide them with the right people through that chain, or to see if there was a downfall in their concern.
Thank you, Jackie. Now we'll go on to the 6th question. What are your ideas on how to engage the business community to better prepare students for the workforce? And we'll begin with Mr. Isidro Marino.
I think it's important to include businesses in the school district for fundraising events, round the year events, and also to have job trainings as in trade, how businesses work, and also working directly with departments within the Garden City Community College and the Garden City High School to create events so that people can explore careers and give back to the businesses, while also the businesses giving back to the school districts. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Boers.
Well, one way to engage businesses, I'm going to put a plug in for Micah, is to be a sponsor of the Crystal Apple Awards. I am currently the presenting sponsor and have been for several years. And I'm sure that Micah is still looking for sponsors if you're interested in supporting your teachers. But in speaking with Coach Tone and some business leaders at the Kansans Can Tour that just recently came around, it sounded like what seems to be a concern is teachers not realizing that they can go out to businesses, and that businesses are ready, willing, and able to have their students in those businesses and to engage. We have job shadowing things at this point. That damper was put on that last year. I'm looking forward to having one in my office next semester, but making sure that the teachers understand, you're not in a bubble. You can go out and talk to the businesses, and making sure that the businesses feel like they can do that as well. One of the things that we have also done is to have, and I apologize, I can't remember the technical name of it at this point, but meeting with the different academies so that we can speak with the teachers and find out exactly what's going on with the classes, helping them determine what classes are most appropriate as well for the different pathways. I think having that involvement with the community would also be beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Forrest. Mr. Weesey.
I think that we have a lot of wonderful businesses in Garden City that already engage with our high schools and our middle schools and grade schools. So I think we have a good business community that supports our school. I believe that we should bring our business owners in and do career type fairs and allow them to describe what type of business they operate and what qualifications are needed for their businesses. We live in an economy that's very ag-based, and we provide a lot of food, and we feed a lot of the world right out of this region. And I think it would be a wonderful opportunity for the students of Garden City to understand our local economy and what drives our local economy and our tax dollars. And not only that, just have a true understanding of the people that work hard every day in our community to feed the world. But I think that there's all kinds of possibilities to do shadowing, to have people come in, to have students go on field trips and see some of the wonderful organizations that we have in our community. It's just a matter of getting out and meeting those people and getting those people on board to have field trips and tours to their businesses.
Thank you, John. Mr. Wallace.
Can you repeat the whole question again?
What are your ideas on how to engage the business community to better prepare students for the workforce?
So I believe that's already happening. We have Empirical Foods that's moving into town, and they came and spoke and met with some of our leaders at the high school level, and then also some of the leaders over there at the college level, to make sure that there is an avenue for some of these kids that are graduating that won't go to college to go through that program. And it's a great program. There also is the CTE program. I've had some disappointing couple of things with the district a couple years ago because I was never asked to come in as a mentor. And I, to be a part of this community for 17 years as a business owner and a viable trade and a service that we provide for this community, why am I not being asked? And so I had to put myself out there as a business leader in business to let those people know that, hey, I'm willing to job shadow, I'm willing to mentor, I'm willing to come in and do a Q&A. I want to be able to provide the information to some of the kids out there, some of the students that are graduating. There is a different career path, and this could be a career path to a 4-year trade school in Wichita. But the students need to know there's good business leaders, good business people that want to see their education through and support that education.
Thank you. Jackie Jiggett.
I think bringing businesses into the classroom and showing students how what they are learning can relate to certain career fields and why it is important for them to continue to learn, maybe to inspire them, even at a lower grade level than high school, maybe middle school, whether it's a nurse coming into health class, if it's Mr. Wallace coming in and even expressing how important it is to know your colors. Those things that they're learning and inspired to continue to learn is important. So keep them motivated and maybe find a career path that would interest them to stay local. And colors are very important.
100%.
Don't cross your wires. Cammie? McDonald. Thank you.
I think we have several great businesses that would be willing to do more of this, and maybe do shadowing and trips to their businesses. And I think you just have to encourage teachers to be doing that when whatever classes that is appropriate in. I also think that, I know the school struggles with getting staff, but I think some of our business also struggle with that. And I've heard of some people that may retire in a few years and they don't really have anybody interested in taking over their business. So I think it's an opportunity that if you could maybe have counselors connect kids that are interested in coming back to the area and are interested in a certain type of career, that we could connect them with different people in the community and these businesses that are looking for people to come back to this area.
Thank you. Our next question, what policies or school-wide changes would you implement to address the physical and emotional health of students in our district? We'll begin with Laura Boris.
I think we are on an excellent pathway to that at this point. A few years ago, I was privileged to serve on the State Board of Education's Mental Health Advisory Council, which was trying to figure this out as well. And I think due in part to my participation on that committee, we were able to get the pilot program that we have with Compass. Having Compass therapists come to the schools, it cuts down on absenteeism because they don't have to leave school to go to Compass and have that appointment. I believe we're also doing things with wellness champions at the schools as well. And even the Play 60 that NFL does, we're having that at the different schools, or Walk to School Day. All of those things, I think, help with the physical and the emotional health and well-being of our students. And I believe that we're on a great pathway to that at this point, and believe that we should continue as we're moving forward and trying to find new and innovative ways to do this. Part of the problem, though, is just like there's a teacher shortage, there is a counselor shortage, and either Compass is stealing from us or we're stealing from Compass. So we need to figure out a way to bring more counselors into the area as well. Thank you.
Mr. Weesey.
Yeah, there's no doubt that mental health, over the last 2 years has been a major topic with COVID. People at home, students not in school. There's just mental health is very, very important. So I would work with our current things that we're doing, our counselors. I would communicate with them, ask them if they see opportunities to enhance programs, or they know of programs that are out there that we can help or bring in that would help our students with their emotional and their mental health. But I believe that it's an area that we need to focus on, as, like I say, the last 2 years have been extremely difficult on our students, on our teachers, our faculty, everybody, not knowing what the future holds. And I think we can work with our current counselors. We can communicate with them, continue the programs that we're already doing, and look for other opportunities.
Thank you, John. Mr. Wallace.
Yes, I just talked about this yesterday at our board agenda meeting, and we do see an uptick in our academic success to meet those standards. But, I fell back and I wanted to know about the social emotional of our students over this last year and a half. How are we doing there? How are we bridging that gap with those students? There's the Champions Wellness Champions deal. There's also You Matter, National Suicide Prevention deal out there as well. That's helping students. But how are we bridging that? Due to the fact that we received some additional ESSERS funding, we have out there to hire more counselors, hire paras that can fill that role. Teachers are overworked as it is to educate that, but to also be that counselor, they're getting kind of strung out. We heard from many counselors at the last board meeting that came and gave a presentation of what all they do, and it's a tremendous amount what they do at the high school level. And to bring this on is just another level that they exceed in their own right with many, many hours. But we are trying to hire a couple other people to come in and to fill those social emotional needs. Very important. And as Laura alluded, that we have a struggle with, We grow them and Compass steals them. So we need to figure out a way to retain those people, to grow our own as well, to come in and to address those social emotional needs.
Thank you, Alex. Next, Jackie Jiggett.
I think over the last few years, there's been a lot of good things that have put in place for social and emotional health. A lot of things came to light that never did previously. But not only is our students' social and emotional health important, but our teachers. And keeping our teachers, our paras, and our staff emotionally stable and their heads in the game is very important. And maybe doing some additional things to ensure their stability will help with the students' stability also.
Thank you, Jackie. Our next question, against what metrics or measures would you assess the district leader?
We left off Cammy Messenger for that question.
She's here to rescue me. Cammie, you're next.
Okay. I think a big thing is to encourage kids to get involved. I feel like if they feel part of something, that helps tremendously. So maybe it's some type of, I know we offer a lot of different extracurricular activities, and just making sure that kids know what is all available that speaks to them that they could be a part of. Also encourage teachers and parents to speak up if they see their child struggling and have great plans in place. And I know we have great counselors that can help with that and point them in the right direction, but just encouraging to speak up. And then also just ask our counselors, what else can we do? What are we missing? What else is needed to help kids to help with these issues that they're struggling with?
Thank you, Cammie. Mr. Marino.
To address the physical and emotional need in our school district, it would be important to analyze the students' factors at home and within the school culture. It would be very important as a school board member to emphasize having a positive school culture, that we as a community, regardless of where we come from or who we are, that we're one entire human family and that we're here for each other during the good and the bad times. I would also increase mental health programs through state and federal funding. Also working directly with Compass Behavioral Health, St. Catherine's Hospital, and local clinics to increase mental health awareness programs. Also by bringing in such programs like there's a business in town with, I believe it's Horses for Love, and bringing animal companions to school to really make it feel homey at school. But furthermore, it's really important to understand what a student and a faculty is going through in their life to really address the situation as whole, because if we don't address everything at whole, we can't fix one problem if we don't know what's the entire problem going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Cedar. We'll now go on to the next question. Against what metrics or measures will you assess district leadership's attainment of key goals that are set by the Board of Education? And we'll begin with Mr. John Weesey.
Can you repeat the question?
Against what metrics or measures would you assess the leadership's attainment of key goals that are set by the Board of Education?
So as a board member, obviously, the administration, we would judge or measure Dr. Carlin in this instance, or the superintendent's performance, but Dr. Carlin would manage the school and the administrators and the teachers and everything. And the metrics that I would use to see if our administration was doing a good job is graduation rates, post-secondary, how are our students measured up against other state students in the state, as far as, on our core classes, are we above state average, are we below state average? And then on the other initiatives, obviously we just have to, whatever those initiatives are, we'd have to put parameters in place to measure them to see if we are meeting those goals. I know our school board right now has a 5-year plan in place with different initiatives on it that we can go through, and at the end of that, evaluate and see if we met or exceeded those, or if we fell short, how do we realign to meet those goals.
Thank you, Ms. Weesey. Alex Wallace, next.
So we have, as John alluded to, we do have a 5-year strategic plan on board goals from 2018 to 2023. Those board goals are discussed now, each and every board meeting. We go through them, the administration, Dr. Carlin's team, answers for all those board goals, discuss it. We have other committees that come in and make sure that we're meeting those board goals. We have informal evaluations on Dr. Carlin 2 or 3 times a year, and then we have a formal evaluation at the end of the year to evaluate his performance. That is our board policy right now. Beyond that, we start to get into the weeds and in details and kind of undermine his ability to take care of that. But we do hold Dr. Carlin accountable, and that is our metric for the 5-year strategic plan.
Thank you, Alex. Jackie Jiggett.
I think not only is it important for the board to hold Dr. Carlin or whoever the superintendent would be at the time accountable, but a great way to do that is also to have self-evaluation and to have evaluation on him for those that work for him and work under him. Some may prefer it be anonymous, but some may want to put their name. I think it is important for him to be respected by his peers, but for him also to respect them. Academic success and implementing the programs that are set forth and making sure that those are followed through the way they're supposed to in schools is very important part of his job. And being accountable for any of the downfalls is very important. Take the glory with the fail also, and admitting the fail is very important to grow as a leader.
Thank you. Cammie McDonald.
I think you agree upon the results that you want to see up front with the administration for the year, your goals, and you get buy-in. And I think to see it, measure if it's working or not. Are you seeing improvement in graduation rates or kids coming out equipped for college? I hate, state assessments aren't always the best measure, but are we improving in that? And then also, how's our turnover look? I think you got to look at the results of things like that to measure something that's you can quantify, but also things like teacher morale good, administration morale.
Thank you, Cammie. Cedro?
May you repeat the question again, please?
Against what metrics or measures would you assess the district leadership's attainment of key goals that are set by the Board of Education?
To address goals within the school district is to hold all schools and the superintendent accountable for the responsibilities, and also working directly with board members to ensure that our goals fit the necessary situation yearly, and to evaluate, address, and also formulate a policy that will fit the school district's situation at the moment, and going far and beyond our goals to increase achievements within the school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Cedro. Laura Boris.
Well, obviously, some of it, I believe, would be specifically by the numbers. Graduation rate, that is one of the board goals, one of the things that we do look at our 5-year strategic plan. I've always been against just utilizing state assessments, and that has been something that even the Kansas State Department of Education has been against as well. They actually reduced the testing footprint by 60% about 4 years ago. But we still continue to do different testing throughout the school year, because if you're looking at one specific day, you don't know what happened to that child the night before. You don't know if they ate breakfast. And to hold the district accountable for one day out of a child's life, I think, is inappropriate. But if you're looking at a gradual thing throughout the entire year and the growth for the entire year, that's what's key. My husband taught 6th grade for a number of years. He would have kids come in with a 2nd or 3rd grade level, but get them up to a 5th grade reading level. According to No Child Left Behind, at that time, he failed. But to get a child up 3 or 4 grade levels is a huge improvement, and that's showing that we are making strides with that particular child. So I think there's a lot of different metrics that we can use depending on which key goal of our 5-year strategic plan that you are looking at.
Thank you, Laura, and this is our last question. Currently, the district is organized with the pre-K, K-4, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th through 12th model. What are your views on the possible reconfiguration of the schools within the district? And we'll begin with Alex Wallace.
You know, there's a whole other side of the table over here.
You're the big guy.
So I've had the pleasure of answering this question at one of the other board forums that we've had quite some time ago. Right now, the school board has 4 or 5 RHIDs. Excuse me, thank you. Right now, the school board has 4 or 5 RHIDs in front of them to build close to 750, 800 houses coming up. That is going to severely impact how we redistrict and restructure our schools. Can those schools take on more students? Some of the schools are out of space right now. Not to mention that, we also have to bring teachers in to help to educate those additional 800 to 1,000 kids, 800 to 1,000 kids. But restructuring, there is a committee in place. There's a site council that we use. We have to go out there and get the data, analyze what the district's needs are right now. Bus transportation is a huge factor. There's a lot of moving parts to make that decision. Capital outlay, a bond issue, what all can we afford? It goes into restructuring our district.
Thank you, Alex. Jacqueline Jiggett.
I think if you'd restructure, just like any type of restructure that has been done in the past, it has to be extremely thought through and all factors considered. Housing, teachers, space, and funding. Something can be a great idea on paper, but implementing can be a whole different story. I think we need to look at the past and see how different programs have worked at different areas, whether the 5th and 6th grade centers are valuable, or whether we're losing some in that 5th to 6th grade transition. I think there's many factors to look into, not just building space, but how the learning level is going with it.
Thank you. Cammie McDonald.
I agree with what you guys have both said. I think you have to look at the impact to the community, just like you said. What is working with the way that we do it now? What doesn't work? I think you have to dig in and just look to see what are the benefits. I really don't feel like I have enough experience with this question to give a complete answer, and I would like to, I guess, defer that to later. But I think you have to look at all aspects of it.
Thank you. Mr. Marino.
I think what's most important is to work with the school board, all school districts within the school district, and local stakeholders to analyze what we can do better each and every year, while also working through state delegates to ensure that we're doing our best to provide quality education to our students, and also by making sure that our facilities are well-run and equipped with the resources needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Cedro. Laura Boris.
Thank you. This was an issue that I really was honed in on, and is one of our goals on the 5-year strategic plan to figure out what we should be doing with this. We did have a committee that came and did present, I believe, now it's probably 2 years ago, in December, with regard to making their recommendation, which was a K-5, 6, 8, and then high school model. That was their recommendation, after doing a lot of research and a lot of talking about this with various stakeholders. Parents were on that committee, teachers were on that committee to make this decision. I believe one of the parents said, oh, I was dead set it was going to be K-6, but then after seeing all of the research and the information, I think the K-5 model is the best way to go. Currently, the way that the curriculum is set up is a K-5, 6, 8. So it's difficult for our 6th grade teachers to be able to collaborate with our 7th and 8th grade teachers, which is where the curriculum is flowing. So I think it's important to look at all of those things as well, but I think our biggest issue is going to be the money and how are we going to pay for it. I think we do have the facilities to make something like this work, and hopefully do it in a fairly cost-efficient manner. But that's what the committee has made the recommendation for, and now we're just researching how to do it.
Thank you. Mr. Weesey.
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Laura says. In talking with the teachers and the faculty and different folks in the process of running for school board, they mentioned this project specifically to us and that it had kind of gotten tabled. I would like to revisit that project and get their ideas and different things like that, and then obviously just collaborate with the community and just figure out what the best solution is and use common sense as we do that, and not burden our taxpayers, but not leave our students and teachers behind either. Make sure we accommodate so we can continue to grow, continue to have quality education for our community. So I just think it's one of them things, it's like an onion, you just kind of keep peeling it back and you continue to find facts, you continue to do research, and make a solution that best fits our community.
Thank you, John. That concludes the question and answer session of tonight's forum. Candidates, thank you for your answers and candor and willingness to be part of the event and to be on the ballot. At this time, we'll invite each of you to provide a 2-minute closing statement, and we'll begin with Cammie McDonald.
Thank you again for having us, and I appreciate the thoughts from all the candidates tonight. As we get closer to the election, I just encourage our community to get out and vote. I promise if I am elected, I will give the position the utmost respect and will not forget that it is an elected position by the people. I promise to work with teachers and administrators to make our district a strong, sought-after one. When I vote, I will do what is best for the kids, our staff, and our parents. I will do my own research and lean on morals and values to make the decisions. Please consider casting your vote for change on November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McDonald. And now we'll hear from Laura Boris.
Thank you. Again, thank you to all who made this evening possible. I appreciate the effort that has gone in. In looking at the future, our financial future is uncertain in Garden City Public Schools. We will be losing some of our high-density funding. We are going to be losing the ESSERS or COVID money in a couple of years as well. With 10 years of experience, I have seen mid-year cuts happen and had to deal with that, and have had to deal with a lot of ups and downs with regard to our budget. I believe experience is going to be very important in the next few years as we're dealing with all of those things. Health insurance could be an issue. Still trying to maintain some sort of pay increases for our teachers as well. Making sure that our programs are going well for our students. I don't want to see programs cut. We've had a lot of money recently that we've been able to add. In the past with program budgeting, the presentations were, what do you want at 98, 96, 94%, because you weren't getting 100. So we've been able to get past that, and I'm hopeful that with the experience that I have had over the last 10 years and the experience and the connections that I have made by being a member of the board of directors for the Kansas Association of School Boards, I can bring new ideas to the board so that we can be creative in any type of issues that we may have with funding. If you have any more questions or need more details with regard to my answers this evening, please feel free to call me or send me an email. As I mentioned, I do email back unless if I'm in the middle of a trial within a day, so that you can get any information that I have on a particular issue as soon as possible. Also, on Saturday, we are having a coffee, so please join us at Dugan's if you'd like some more information at 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll next hear a closing statement from Jackie Jiggett.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming and for the Chamber for inviting us all here. I've always known the important role that teachers, paras, school staff, even janitors had in my children's life, academically, socially, and mentally. I'm looking forward to being a part of a positive move forward in the school board, a positive direction of leadership, knowledge, and the rights of parents, teachers, and the students to achieve the highest possible level of success while also being fiscally responsible. giving students the opportunity to receive higher education through the technical programs offered, and growing those programs that are so vital to our highly diverse agriculture community is so very important to ensure community vitality and for it to thrive for years to come. I look forward to being able to serve the school district and our community, and but most importantly, everyone needs to get out and vote on November 2nd.
Thank you, Jackie. Mr. Isidro Marino. Sorry.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody who is watching and will be watching, everyone attending right now, and also to the Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce for hosting this candidate forum. I'd like to say that I would be more than grateful to be elected as USD 457 school board member, as I'd work directly with everyone on the board, the school district, to ensure that every issue we face and meeting that goes well, and that we judge everything fairly and factual. Also, today is also very important. You can register to vote or update any voter information at 11:59 p.m. on ksvotes.org. And you could also find more information about myself on my Facebook candidate page. It's Isidro Marino for School Board USD 457. And thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Marino. Alex Wallace.
Again, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Serving our school district and our community is a huge responsibility that I do not take lightly. It is with passion and experience that gives me the confidence to take on this huge responsibility. You know, as a school board member, our role is to have four things that Dr. Carlin and Dr. Ed has taught us, and that is to listen, ask clarifying questions, think independently, and vote your conscience. If you can do those four things on every minor and major topic, you will become a great school board member. I believe I advocate for students with the fiduciary responsibility to our community stakeholders, and that is why I'm asking for your vote on November 2nd.
Thank you, Alex. And Mr. John Weesey.
Thank you. I would like to also thank the Chamber and Dr. Clifford and Micah for inviting us here tonight to have the opportunity to answer questions and for the public to get to know us a little bit more and the things that we believe. I feel I'm a great candidate for USD 457 school board due to my strong leadership skills and a high level of value that I place on people. I'm willing to listen to and work with people that have different views. I'm not easily overwhelmed, and I'm able to organize and manage a lot of different tasks. I am by nature a very transparent person. I'm not easily intimidated, and I'm not afraid to admit when I am wrong. I served on the Beef Empire Days Board in multiple capacities and worked well with other people to reach common goals. I'm able to see the bigger picture and good at putting plans into action. I believe that one of my best qualities is that I'm never satisfied with the status quo. I'm always willing to evaluate myself as well as evaluating processes that will improve our district. I would bring a lot of common sense decision-making to our board. I also feel that I'm a great candidate for USD 457 board because I have 3 children in the district. I wouldn't be making decisions for our students or district that wouldn't have a direct impact in my home. I would ask for your vote on November 2nd, and I hope to be elected and look forward to working for our district.
Thank you, Mr. Weesey. This concludes tonight's program. I'd ask our in-studio audience to join me in thanking our candidates for putting their names on the ballot. The forum will be rebroadcast between now and November 2nd on the Garden City City Channel 8, and there will be a link provided on the Chamber Facebook page. I would like to thank Jamie Stewart of the City of Garden City for technical assistance this evening. As you heard, the election is set for Tuesday, November 2nd, and as Isidro mentioned, you have until midnight tonight to register online. Yes. We encourage the citizens of Garden City to step out and vote. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Early voting is October 18th.